Oh, yeah. Freak out. Yeah, I'm looking right into the video scope, And this is Macho Man, #1 Macho Man impersonator, past, present, future, yeah. And I'm here to tell you, you are watching 49er Minded with Bashar. Yeah, the cream of the crop. Dig it?
49er Mind is it's not just a thought process, but a way of life. 49er Minded, 49er Minded, can't shake it. It's 49er Mind that I got. It's 49er Shine that I got. My psyche's on another Frisco Super Bowl. Don't sit slow, cause here we go with a super show. A red and gold session about a red and gold obsession. With some well-controlled expressions, let's talk about that win that we got. Who should have been in the spot? That's how they spin in the spot. All that back, all that crack, all that straight bumble sack. Or just dial it on up if you wanna talk smack. It don't matter what the storyline, as long as the story aligns with a 49er mind. 49er minded. It's not just a thought process, 49er minded, but a way of life. For sure. 49er minded. Way of life. 49er minded.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Hall of Fame Saturday edition of 49er Minded. Gonna say what's up to some people who are already in the chat on a Saturday night. We got a Swan Song, says 49er Minded. We got 49er Chanel, what up? Says, what up, faithful? And I'm gonna bring my guest on. Some of you guys may know her, some of you guys may not know her. She pops up in the chat every now and then. It is none other from all the way in Las Vegas, MIRIAH, 49Faithfullee podcast. How's it going?
Hey, good. Thank you for having me on. I know we've been trying to make this work for a while, so I'm glad we were finally able to do it.
Oh, yeah. I think I kind of look at these type of collabs. I kind of cherish these ones the most because we develop a friendship over time, you know. We develop a friendship over time, and it's not somebody I barely know. So a lot of times I bring on guests, and it may be like the first or second time I've even spoken with them. But you and I have gone back and forth multiple times. We're buddies on Twitter, and it's, you know, I've been on your show before, which is awesome. I was very appreciated of that. So yeah, man, you know, so it's great to have you on. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. What's up, everybody in the chat?
Yeah, we got a lot of cool people in the chat. Probably other people will trickle in late, so it's all good. So let's get started because we got Barry a baller in here. What's up, bro? Yeah, so we got Panama Queen. What is up, Panama Queen? How's it going?
Hey,
all the way on
Panama.
the East Coast, all the way over in Jersey, and yeah, so let everybody know, like, because it's always great to hear everybody's unique individual stories. And with you, how did you become a 49er fan? How did it all start?
Yeah, so like you said, I'm in Vegas. I was born and raised, been in Vegas ever since. So at the time, we didn't have a football team. My family, they had come to Vegas from Pennsylvania, so they're Eagles fans. And so growing up, you know, that I lived with my grandparents. My grandpa was a huge Eagles fan. He was really the only one that really watched football or really knew anything about football. The others just claimed to be Eagles fans, and, you know, that was that. But I just, like, I didn't feel right to be an Eagles fan because I really didn't have any roots or anything in Philly, you know, like my family, I still have family that lives there, but that's about it. You know, I've been there, but like, I just didn't feel right about it. Like, I wanted to choose my own team. I've always kind of been the one that goes against the grain of everything with my family. So, I knew, you know, when I was younger that I wanted to pick a California team because that's, you know, the closest to me. Like, I always felt like to this day, I feel like I'm supposed to be like living like a beach bum life, you know, like in a tent on the beach, just being a beach bum. I feel like I was supposed to be a California girl. I was just born in the wrong state. So when I was in junior high, probably, I think it was actually the 94, maybe the 93, 94 season or 94, 95 season. My aunt, who just recently passed away, I stayed at her house a lot when I was in junior high, even in elementary school. She was always like the hip, cool aunt, so I'd always take my friends and we'd stay over there. Her boyfriend at the time was a 49ers fan. So him and all his kids. So he had a son that I was really close with, really good friends with. So they were all 49ers fans. So they really taught me about the 49ers. I was over there every weekend. So for Sunday football, I was there with them. So that was their team. So they kind of just taught me about the 49ers, and it's just stuck ever since. They probably were out of my aunt's life, probably like 2 years after that. But, like I still stuck with the 49ers.
You left a lasting impression in your life some way, somehow, right?
Yep.
They converted you to be a 49er fan, or eased you along the way, so to speak.
And one of my best friends still, like, she's been my best friend ever since I was a little kid. She's a Dolphins fan, but her entire family is all 49ers fans. So that, both of those things played a part in it.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. So you have those early on experiences of watching games and watching them with your aunt and all that. But do you have any cool experiences as far as going to your first games at all? Or I don't know if you ever went to Candlestick, but
nope, I've never been to Candlestick, and I haven't even been to Levi's yet. We keep planning trips to go to Levi's now, and it seems like every time we do, something always happens, so we don't end up going. So we're still trying. Hopefully I'm planning to move to Oregon in a couple years, hopefully. So that'll be a lot closer for us to San Francisco. So yeah, I mean, the only time I've seen them play, it wasn't at home. I saw them play in Arizona. So that's really, but
how did that go when you went to see them play in Arizona?
It was all right. It it wasn't like the same thing of being at home. Of course, you have to listen to all the Arizona Cardinals fans, and we won, thankfully. So I didn't have to deal with them too bad. But during the game, they ran their mouths a lot.
I was gonna say though, in Arizona, I hear there's a lot of 49er fans out there. Was it almost like a 50-50, or there were more Cardinal fans?
No, there was way more Cardinal fans. It wasn't. This was like years ago, so we weren't taking over stadiums like we do now.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah. And I figured you were gonna probably say Arizona because you're in Nevada, and I know a lot of people from Nevada have been to Arizona Cardinal games when the Niners do play. Let me say what's up to some people that trickled in. We got Jay Mangold is here. Steve Supremo, long time. I seen him on some other channels actually recently when we were doing the NWO show. I think he was there with them over at 49er First Takes channel. So that's cool. And for those of you guys that don't know, MIRIAH is from the 49Faithfullee YouTube channel. I do have her information in the description box of this video. She does that channel with TL, who's a great dude. I had him on here before. And when he was on here, MIRIAH was typing up in the chat, "You're cheating on me." They're a great duo. They're a lot of fun to watch. I always have fun to watch them. They always have cool little giveaways, which I was the winning recipient. When I was a winner a few times actually on there. So
yeah,
it was pretty fun, and that's why I disqualify myself from all the contests. I want other people to win now. I don't want to be the only one winning.
Most people have already won. They're all like JV. He's won the most. He's won. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
He has a whole stack of winnings. So.
Okay, there you go. And you guys are all about winning, you and TL, because you guys both work in Vegas near all the casinos, right?
Yeah.
So we got Prius Game. He's in here talking about Trey Lance. David McNews here says, "What's up, Bashar MIRIAH?" So how did you? What made you decide to do a podcast, and how'd that happen, and how did TL get involved later down the road? Just give me the whole story.
Yeah. I guess really what made me start thinking about it was just hanging out in the chats of everybody's everybody that had podcasts at the time, and, talking with all of other 49ers fans. And I really didn't have anybody to talk football with. There's nobody in my house really that watches football. So it just, once I would get in people's chats of their channel, that's, the only football I got to talk. And, I just met so many 49ers fans along the way like that. And, just made connections with so many different people. And everybody kept saying you should start your own show. You should start your own show. And I'm just no, because I'm a really, really shy person. in person, I'm horrible with public speaking. Like, I hate talking in front of people. Like, I'm never wanting to be the center of attention. I'm always the one that like sits off in the corner and just watches people quietly, you know, like, so like, it's never nothing I had thought about on my own, because this is never something I could ever picture myself doing. But, you know, just hearing everybody else, you know, keep telling me to do it and all this, I just thought, well, let me try, you know, what's the worst that can happen? I don't like it and I don't have to do it anymore, you know, like, it's my own channel. So at the end of the day, like, I can make that call. The thing that like kept me back the most was because I didn't want to go into it like as just me, because I knew that I wouldn't just be able to get on a show by myself without another person and just be able to talk. You know, like, I knew that was not the avenue that I could go down. You know, I give everybody that does that all the credit in the world, because that's so hard to be able to do, especially like those first shows when you barely have any people in the chat, like, and you're just sitting there talking to yourself, basically. Like, that's hard, you know? So I knew that wasn't something I wanted to do, but also at the same time, I didn't have anybody that I felt comfortable enough to really, you know, start a channel with, you know? So I was just hoping like to jump headfirst into it and just have, you know, guests on each episode. And hopefully I just, you know, was thinking, well, hopefully I can, you know, feel like some chemistry builds with one of these guests, and, you know, we can, you know, see if something works more permanent, you know? So I had, you know, I had met TL in the show chats, and so I knew him, you know, that way. We had never met in person or anything, but, you know, I knew he lived in Vegas as well. So I had invited him to be a guest on the show, and we just had like hit it off and had just like a great like chemistry, to where like I told you before the show starts, like, we don't even have to write notes. You know, we don't talk about what we're going to talk about most of the time on the show. Like, we're just able to feed off each other and just bounce, you know, ideas just back and forth. And like, it just works out so well for us now. But yeah, never at the beginning did I think, you know, I'd be able to find somebody that it works that well with.
TL's a great guy. He's a great dude. He's an easy person to have a conversation with. He's very chill, laid back, but at the same time, he's just he's very knowledgeable about the game, and just he brings up points that, you know, that I wouldn't bring up. So it's always good to have that yin and yang, and you guys are an excellent duo. I really, really appreciate watching you guys. I remember seeing your I don't know if I saw your YouTube channel for the longest time, or your Twitter account, and it was saying that you were going to have a YouTube channel, or had the link to your channel, but I kept going to your YouTube channel. I'm talking months here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember clicking on your YouTube channel for a period of time. I was like, okay, I see that she has a YouTube channel that exists, and it says it's a podcast, but I don't see any videos on here. It's like, when's this one ever going to get started? Is there any truth to that you kind of got off to a late start after you actually put the channel together?
Yeah, well, you know, I hadn't set like a date when I was going to first go live or anything like that. But I just wanted to start the channel and, you know, start doing the artwork and all the little things that go into it. And at the time, I was, you know, a manager of a surveillance room at a casino here in Vegas. So I just really didn't have a lot of time, you know, so that's kind of what that, and not having a co-host, I think, you know, is what played into not the channel not starting for a while. But so yeah.
That's cool. And I remember you were saying something about how you don't think you're a good public speaker or anything like that. But I will say this, when you guys had Grant Cohn on your channel, right away when you start talking, he's like, wow, Mariah, you have that NPR type comforting, soothing type National Public Radio voice. I remember he was saying that about you. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I hear that a lot, because at work I had to talk on the radios to security all day long. So, you know, like a walkie-talkie radio, whatever. So they would always, you know, the guys would always be talking, you know, about my voice on there.
Yeah, if I was working at the casino and things went bad, I'd probably be like yelling, like, hurry up, get over here, but it's an emergency. And it probably wouldn't even be that big of a deal. I'd just be stressed out. This guy just trickled in. What's up, D Sizzle? Says, you know what it is. Glad all the talking is over. Let's go. Yeah, training camp has begun. We have a game on Friday. Yeah, so it's going to be against the Green Bay Packers in Levi's Stadium, preseason game. I'm not expecting to see too much of a run from the starters, But we might get little glimpses here and there what goes on. But you guys have watched preseason games in the past. Don't expect too much from the preseason. So do you have any cool experiences or stories in terms of meeting 49er players?
I think that actually the only 49ers player I have met, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think that's the only one I've met is Ricky Waters. He was, and I didn't even purposely meet him. He was doing an autograph signing at one of the casinos here, and where they had him set up was kind of by the bowling alley, and me and my family were there bowling. And when we were leaving the bowling alley, we walked past the table where he was at, and there wasn't a big line or anything. There's just a couple people there. And I seen that it was 49ers, related, I could tell he wasn't wearing 49ers anything, but I could tell the pictures he was in, he had a 49ers uniform, and I'm like, who is that? So I sent my daughter over there to go be nosy, and she came back and told us. So we ended up standing in line, and, they only did pictures with the kids or whatever. So she took her picture with him, and we got some autographs with him. But he wasn't, I don't know. I guess I was expecting something different, having, the 49ers are my team and all this. And I just expect the players to be, nicer, I guess. But he wasn't very nice. He acted like
they're not always nice.
Yeah, it's not like you were he wasn't out with his family and we were harassing him for autographs or anything. You're there doing a signing, and he acted still we were there bugging him. It's okay, well, you're getting paid to do this signing, so.
Yeah, and you guys paid money, and he just sat there with no emotions. That's what's weird. And it's funny because Ricky Waters and great player. I love watching Ricky Waters. And I remember I was hyped up about Ricky Waters when he came out in the draft. He was a dark horse type player. They drafted out of Notre Dame, and our running game was in shambles at the time because Roger Craig was leaving or whatever. And I was telling people, oh, you got to watch this guy, Ricky Waters. And this is before the internet, so it's not like I could tell somebody just, hey, go hop on YouTube and watch his highlights or anything like that. But yeah, Ricky Waters is a great pickup for the Niners, obviously. But in interviews, he's so fun and energetic and smiling and laughing. You think that would be a really cool player to meet or whatever.
Yeah.
And I've met certain players. I mean, some of them don't show any emotions. They don't talk at all. And some of them do talk. And it's not just with players, but any type of celebrity. And I worked in the stand-up comedy field, and I met plenty of comedians. And people think comedians are going to be the nicest, friendliest, funniest people in person. A lot of them are boring when you meet them in person.
Yeah.
So, it's what it is what it is. I think a new person dropped in. Oh, they're just talking. They have a little. Oh, here you go. It was Kylie Young. There he is. What up, Kylie? Kylie Young says, Bashar, what's good, fam? And MIRIAH, the silent but deadly one, the quiet assassin. What's good, faithful? Shout out to him,
Kylie.
man. Yeah, he's a big supporter of the YouTube channels. He's always on, and huge 49er fan, obviously. And who do we have here? It is Nick from Nothing But Niners, always faithful 24/7. Says, what's up, Bashar and MIRIAH? Great to have you in the chat, bro. Just a great guy, a great person to talk to, and an excellent content creator from Nothing But Niners. Yeah, so let's talk about this really, really quick. I'm gonna I told you I had a little surprise for you, right? Mm-hmm. Remember? Yeah. It's no big deal. I told you don't get your hopes up for it, but for me, I just thought it was kind of funny, and I just thought, hey, let's talk about it. So we got this right here. So basically, MIRIAH drew this out. It says 49Faithfullee dropping F-bombs, which is her. And we had a little funny talk once where I'd be watching her shows, and then she just randomly started dropping F-bombs. She was talking about the Jim Harbaugh era or something like that. And she's like, oh, and all the players were fucking each other's wives and all this shit. And why are people? And then she was like, "Why are people so hung up on Jimmy G? We don't fucking hang up at NFC Championship banners." And it's like, and then when they had me on as a guest on the show, when I was on the 49Faithfullee show with them, MIRIAH's just dropping F-bombs. So we just had this little funny inside joke with MIRIAH and her F-bombs or whatever. So she drew up this little. You're a great artist, by the way. There's no way I could have drawn that up. She drew up 49Faithfullee dropping F-bombs. It's just a little funny inside joke that MIRIAH and I have. Or me and MIRIAH, we go back like babies and pacifiers have.
That's we're doing an anniversary show this month, a 1 year anniversary. And
you know what? Yeah,
we're going to release some merchandise and
okay.
some merch as they call it these days. And that's going to be one of the things that we release.
That's cool. I never really did anything for
yeah.
1 year. I guess my 1 year anniversary show, you could pretty much say, was a show where I had 49er dude on, and we released a new song. I guess you could call that one it. I didn't make a big extravagant announcement about it though. Oh, John V is here. Okay. What's up, John V from Ohio? He's from the Locker Room Rant podcast. It's a great podcast. He's a big 49er fan. He's based in Ohio, and he does a podcast with his shows, basically with his two friends that he grew up with. One's a Buffalo Bills fan and one's a Cleveland Browns fan. And they're always going back and forth and arguing at each other. And they're talking about basketball, football, any sport, you name it, they talk about. It's a great show. It's called The Locker Room Rant. And we got...
yeah, I was on there this week on his show too.
Oh, man. Yep. So this guy says he can't draw stick figures. Yeah, so I mean, you've been drawing for quite some time. It looks like you're pretty skillful. Did you draw your logo too, the one with your little cartoon logo, or is that somebody else did that?
Somebody else did that, and charged me a lot of money for it. So I got pissed off after that and just started doing my own stuff.
Okay, you're pretty good though.
I am gonna be starting to work with Swan Songs and actually starting to do some of our artwork, and we'll be doing like our channel work and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, Swan Song actually showed me some meme that he did once, I remember. And I forgot what the meme was exactly, but it was really good. And I was like, who made this? He's like, oh, I made it. I was like, damn, you're pretty good, bro.
Yeah, he does great work.
Yeah, he is. He's a big 49er fan over in Southern California. And yeah, so let's get going and start talking about more 49er related stuff here. We kind of go off topic on my show a little bit from time to time. What's the most exciting thing that you have on your mind in terms of the 49ers? I wouldn't want to say off season because we're going into our first preseason game, or just in terms of surveying camp and all the camp news. Is there anything that you were really had your eye on that you were looking forward to?
I mean, I just think obviously the news coming out is that the defense is going to be great again. I'm sure most of us expected that, but I'm expecting probably this defense should be at least top 3 in the league. It seems like, each day the offense is starting to gel together a little bit more. Hopefully, they can get the O-line figured out and pick a center and actually stick with them, and they can start getting some good work in together as a unit. But yeah, I think this, I haven't been this excited for a season in a long time, probably ever that I can remember. Just finally having a quarterback that can open up this offense more. I think it's, we have a lot to look forward to. I think it's a good time to be a 49ers fan.
Oh yeah. And in camp too, especially with the O-line, it's, the first few days, the first week of camp or the first few days, you always hear more news about, regardless of who's in camp, actually, regardless of who the quarterback, who the skill players are, but you just always hear more news about, this guy made an interception or this guy made a great defensive stop. You always hear more about the defense in terms of the first few weeks.
Yeah, the defense always starts faster.
And especially with our team too, we're always changing our offensive line around. So this time around, it's like freaking Trent Williams wasn't even there for the first few days, and McGlinchey wasn't there. So, and then on top of that, we're still trying to figure out who the center is. And you got Aaron Banks, and then they're throwing in Burford at guard, and with the offensive line in general, you're just, we were wondering, are they going to even do anything? And what sucked, we're saying what sucks for them in terms of you want to hear good things about them. But actually, in reverse, it's a good thing, in my opinion, because you're going against the guys. The offensive line are going against guys who are they're going against defensive linemen who are really, really good.
Yeah. So
obviously, you have these D linemen who are really, really good going up against these super young offensive linemen, first-year players, second-year players. And you may hear something about them getting blown off the line, but at the same time, a few days later, you may hear that they did pretty good against that veteran defensive lineman. So within the past few days, though, I hear the O-line's coming around, so that's good to hear.
Yep. I'm worried still about the center. I don't know. I'm okay, I guess, if Brendel starts, but I just don't want Brendenskill starting.
I was kind of thinking to myself, maybe, because I don't like Brendenskill as a right guard, really, but he's an experienced NFL player, so to speak. He's more of a utility guy, though. I mean, we've thrown him in and put him in that tackle in 2019, if everybody remembers that. But in that season, we were using Justin School as well. And then they even actually had prepped Brendenskill in practices last year to be a center, So, but it's I don't know. I never seen him play the position ever. I've seen Brendel play. I believe he started one of the preseason games and he looked okay. He didn't look too bad. But at the same time, you're talking about a guy who wasn't some player that was drafted like in the second round or third round and people had a lot of high hopes for. You're talking about a guy who bounced around to various teams and it's like, okay, we picked up this journeyman, Brendel. But at the same time, they said, oh, well, he's got all this experience working with Lance and snapping to Lance. And and the thing about Brendenskill is he's got all that experience, but now we're hearing it from time to time that he has a lot of bad snaps. Like when they're doing the shotgun snaps to Trey, and that's not going to be good. You don't want a center that freaking fumbles the snaps, you know?
Yeah. I'm hearing that Brendenskill is the one fumbling all the snaps, so I don't know. Guess it'll be...
Yeah, it was Brendenskill. Did I say Brendel that was fumbling snaps? I could have sworn I said Brendel.
Oh, okay. Maybe. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, they got two similar sounding names. We got Niner Sickness. Beto in the house. What's up, Niner Sickness Podcast? How you doing? Okay, so that's it. Any other camp battles that come across your mind or anything you want to talk about 49er-wise in general?
I love what we're hearing out of C. Ward. You know, it seems that he's, locking down the wide receivers out there. So that seems like, if that carries over to games, hopefully that seems to be money well spent. It's about time we get some lockdown corners back there since, Jason Verrett, like I loved him, but like the whole time he was out on the field, I was so scared he's going to get hurt, like, like he's so fragile out there. So, and then obviously, like anybody that knows me knows I'm a huge Ayuk fan. I do think, he obviously hasn't lived up to the potential of what we thought he would be, at this point. But it seems like, he really went into this off season ready to work. He's gone into now training camp, the relationship that him and Lance have, that's great. Seems like that's all we hear every day that I hear coming out of training camp. It's like he's the best player out there on the field, besides Nick Bosa. So that's great to hear. Yeah, obviously now, we're happy that Debo's back out there. Seems like him and Lance obviously don't have any chemistry because they haven't worked together. But hopefully, we start seeing them build that before the start of the season.
Yeah, I got you. I get what you're saying. We got 49ers First Takes. Aaron, I've collabed with him multiple times, says, oh my God, Mariah, what's up? What up, 49ers First Takes, Aaron? Yeah, the C. Ward's Charvarius Ward signing. His name, whenever I hear his name, I think of Tarvarius more. They're such like similar now sounding names, but Charvarius Ward, and that's a cornerback that we picked up who's got some swagger. He can play man to man. If you watched a good portion of his highlights last year, he was doing good against guys, the CD Lamb and some bigger name guys. He was not locking him down 100%, but there were times where people were challenging him on big play type throws, and he was just right there in the mix of it. So for the 49ers to have a quarterback like that with our defensive front, I haven't seen a corner like that of that caliber in quite some time. And in general, just the cornerback room, if Verrett can come back and show up, that would be even great because Mosley's playing the best ball of his life, obviously. And the ironic thing about Charvarius Ward and Mosley is that they're both undrafted free agents. I was talking earlier about how Brendel's this, not this journeyman type guy, and he wasn't really drafted high or anything like that. But every now and then, even guys who are completely undrafted step up and make it as players. And, case in point, Charvarius Ward. So I'm super excited with the pass rush we have, obviously, and the new additions on the D-line. For a guy like Ward to be in the mix, it says a lot. And Ward's not making it easy for Lance in practice. He's blanketing guys like Ayuk. Lance has got to throw it over them, and Ayuk's got to stretch out and all that. But that's great, man, because we're not going to be facing that type of pressure from the defense week in and week out. I've been telling people, So this is excellent training, case in point training camp for the Niners, and I love it. I love it. So we got a new person on Trickle there. I've seen him before, actually. Cook Sports says Niner Gang, says what's good, y'all. Says what's up, y'all. How you doing, man? Good to have you on. Yeah. So and I just mentioned new additions to the D line. I haven't seen him yet, but one guy who I'm definitely excited to see in actual preseason game is Drake Jackson. Yeah. The guy, and it's weird because usually I think of pass rushers as more of your kind of leaner looking dudes or and the bulkier defensive lineman type guys are more so of the guys on the inside. And then they showed Drake Jackson the other day. He's number 95. They do that rookie hype thing before the practices, right? They'll bring out one of the rookies to wave the pom-poms or do whatever stupid dance. They had the 2 offensive linemen the other day do a wrestling type thing. I forgot what the thing was where they imitated Stone Cold. I forgot who they were imitating, but so anyway, case in point, they had Drake Jackson out there and the guy was freaking doing black backflips. And this is like a bulky looking D tackle looking dude. He's obviously a defensive end, but his athleticism is through the roof if he can do those Richie James type backflips. Right. But I'm not just talking about his backflips. I'm just talking about in general what I've heard about him in camp. I mean, the things I've heard that he's done so far are pretty impressive. Trent Williams, out of all people, he says this is Mark. I'm trying to remember who Mark is. Sorry, man, I have a brain fart there. I thought that was Nick the whole time. Because whenever I see Always Faithful name, I always think it's, okay, I know that's Mark. Okay, I know exactly who that is. What's up, bro? I know who that is.
With Drake Jackson, what makes me excited too is when Bosa got up there and talked about him and was saying that, he's seen stuff out of Drake Jackson as a rookie that Bosa couldn't even do as a rookie. And when I think of Bosa, like, I think that he could do everything as a rookie. Like, I haven't seen a defensive end like so polished, as Nick Bosa. So for him to get up there, and they're all going to get up there and talk good about their teammates, whatever. But like for him to say, oh, he does things that I couldn't even do, like that's saying something.
See, I missed that. I didn't catch it when Bosa said that. So it's definitely
because you don't listen to the pressers.
I know. I told you I don't watch the press conferences like you do. You watch each and every single one of them. I usually read what other people say about the press conferences. But speaking of press conferences, Samson Ebukam had a whole lot to say about Drake Jackson, which was good. He was just saying he was envious of him. Drake Jackson has a certain bend that everybody keeps talking about. Right. And what's his name? Samson Ebukam was also saying that he's got a particular thing in terms of the way he moves his hips or whatever. His hips don't lie like Shakira. But, well, if you got guys like Trent Williams, Bosa, Ebukam, he's an established veteran. They're all praising Drake Jackson. I'm just excited to see the guy. And I remember going into the draft, there were a lot of people that didn't want to go with defensive end early. Yeah. And once they made the pick, I was like, okay, cool. That's cool, man. That's what I wanted because I want to have that D4 type potential on the opposite side of Bosa that we had that one season, 2019. Unfortunately, it was short-lived with D4, but if we could get that type of explosion on the opposite side of Bosa, now we got our DBs playing better. Our defense should be pretty damn good.
Yep, I agree. And that's one thing I kept saying too on our show is that couldn't wait to have somebody opposite Bosa to take some of that, the double teams away. They don't have to focus, the whole offensive line won't be focused just on Bosa. Like there'll be somebody on the other end that they need to take care of. So yeah, hopefully, I'm not expecting him to play, a whole lot the first, few games, probably just as, on passing downs, third downs, whatever. But I'm expecting, halfway through the season for him to take over that starting spot there.
Yeah, I got you. Mark from Always Faithful 24/7. What's up, dude? How you doing, man? My bad for getting you mixed up. He says, I'm excited to see Javon Kinlaw involved this season. Kasurek is speaking highly of him at training camp. I heard a lot of good things about Kinlaw, actually, in terms of following training camp as of late. They are being a little cautious with him. Not that he's hurt or anything like that, but they're just not putting him out there like 24/7 against the ones, or they're kind of limiting his reps. But from what they've seen of Kinlaw so far is actually pretty good. Do you have anything to add about that?
Yeah, he looks like he's in great shape. He's already humongous, a huge, massive human being, but he looks like he's in the best shape that, he's been in since he's been with us. And yeah, I think it's smart that they have him, on a pitch count and limiting, his work out there. The last thing we need to do is rush him back, and before he's ready, and then he gets hurt and we lose him for the entire year. Me and TL talked about this a lot, that, the success of this defense and obviously of this team relies a lot on Kinlaw, and Kinlaw being healthy and being the type of player that we drafted him to be. We need that. We need him in the center of that line to eat up those double teams and, to stop the run. So I think it's more important that we ease him back right now and let him be ready for the season when it starts.
At the end of the day, Kinlaw may have his best season he's ever had, which, well, obviously he got hurt those other times, but so we don't have much to go off of. But he might come out and have a really nice, successful season, and we might be able to say, hey, maybe that Grant Cohn situation where he got him all mad and fired him up was a good thing. Not trying to say that if he has a great season, Grant Cohn deserves all the credit or anything, because hell no, that wouldn't be the case. But hey, a little confidence boost or a little just boost in somebody's pants or whatever could just bring out the best of them, in my opinion.
Yeah, whatever the players need to grab, like we can all say, they should be able to just do it, whatever. But, sometimes we all could use a little motivation, and wherever we can grab that motivation from, so be it. So if he needs to use that, fight whatever between him and Grant as some fuel, then let it be, because, the 49ers are just going to get better because of it.
Oh yeah, and it's just it's yeah. So it's unfortunate because we've had certain players that we've had high hopes for from time to time, and they'll get bitten by the injury bug. I was pretty high on Jalen Hurd, and some people weren't, but I was one of them, and I was hoping he could overcome his injuries, and it never happened. So case in point, we got Kinlaw. He's got to overcome his injuries too, because we don't want a similar Jalen Hurd type situation with that guy either. And when Kinlaw has been on the field, he has proven he can stop the run in practice. Currently, he's stopping the run and getting after people, and they're actually showing a bit more of a burst in his pass rush too, from what I'm hearing. So It's not like he's just potentially some one-dimensional guy that's going to be out there. But are there any players from any other position groups that you want to talk about? If not, there was a question that I was going to answer from the chat. I could do it before or after. It's up to you.
How are you feeling about safety, about Hufanga taking over for Tart and, that whole situation? I'm a big Huff fan. I wasn't that big. I know, it seems like our fan base is either split on Tart. Like you're either a huge Tart fan or, you didn't like Tart. And I'm more on the side that I didn't not like him, but I'm not sad that he's playing for the Eagles, I'm glad that Hufanga's taken over that spot. And I just like Hufanga as a person, like the guy that he is, just everything, he's such like a positive person. And I think the only knock against him, pretty much was his speed. And I'm a big believer on, players can have game speed without having track speed, so I think once he's in there, he's confident, and confidence is a big thing in it. So he has the confidence to go in there and play and start and take over that spot alongside Jimmy Ward. And I think, it doesn't seem like Jimmy Ward's obviously going to let him go in there and fail. Jimmy Ward's, said that they're going to be the best safety tandem in the NFL. And he never said that about him and Tart, which I thought was interesting.
And him and Tart go way back to high school,
exactly,
right?
Yeah. So that was kind of crazy, that he said that. And that was before even training camp started. Jimmy Ward was already saying that. So I found that kind of odd. I wonder if there's some bad blood in between them two now or something. I don't know.
I wouldn't assume that. But as far as Hufanga goes, I knew a bit about Hufanga because a buddy of mine kept talking about him for quite some time when he was coming out in the draft, and he was saying that was a guy that we should draft. So I had a little inside scoop on him a little early before we drafted him. When we got him, I was like, oh, okay, cool. We didn't have to draft him super high or anything like that, and then we can ease him in and work him into the lineup if need be. And I wasn't a Tart hater, but I was never a huge Tart guy either. Mainly because, when I first started watching the Niners, I came, Ronnie Lott was always making big plays. Jeff Fuller was making plays. Chet Brooks, Dave Waymer. These were the guys who played along Ronnie Lott at one point in time. And Merton Hanks was a safety who always made big plays, and Tim McDonald. So I was always used to this whole big play aspect of being a safety. And I never really got that from Tart. I mean, minus that one-handed catch that he got that one time. But as far as Hufanga goes, I had a lot of hopes for him. I was hearing that he was mentored by Troy Polamalu, and a lot of people were saying, oh, he's not going to be like Troy Polamalu. Don't say he's Troy Polamalu. I'm not saying he's going to be a Hall of Famer like Troy Polamalu, but it helps that Troy Polamalu has mentored him throughout his USC career. He had a very good USC career, and maybe in the NFL he'll have a pretty damn good career too.
Yeah.
So anyways, you mentioned his personality. Hufanga's a great guy on and off the field. And he just has, I mentioned the big play thing. Hufanga has that big play instinct. I mean, what did we see in that Green Bay playoff game, right? The ball, Jordan Willis blocks the punt. I didn't even know who blocked the punt when I saw the game, but Jordan Willis blocks the punt in the freaking snow. And the ball is just like 50 feet up in the air. But out of all the people on special teams, who comes down with it? Talanoa Hufanga, touchdown, baby. Our lone touchdown of the game. So in terms of training camp, it's very rare that I hear Talanoa Hufanga has gotten beat. It's very rare. I've heard he's making a lot of plays on the ball, and he's having his best camp. And they said early on in the mini camps, and we see it in the training camps now, is before the snap, Hufanga's telling the guys, hey, you line up here. Hey, you go here. He's like commanding people. So I'm expecting some good things out of the guy. I know they're trying to work Tarvarius Moore back into lineup too, and every now and then they bring him in with the ones. And I was a Moore fan too. I still do like the guy, and he's a bigger guy. He's got 4.3 speed, and he can kind of make some interceptions from time to time too. So it's gonna be interesting to see if they split time with those guys or somebody comes out top. Maybe Hufanga comes out top. And in general, I think we'll be just fine at strong safety. I really do. Let me just say what's up to. We got Brandon in the house. Where's he at? Brandon Ferreño from the Forever Faithful podcast. What's up, dude? How you doing, man? A great guy. Collabed with him multiple times. He said, "What's up?" He said, "What's up, family?" There you go.
Maybe.
Yeah. What's up, Brandon? And there was somebody in the chat that had asked me a really good question, and I wanted to get into it because we mentioned Talanoa Hufanga, and I mentioned how we got a touchdown via special teams in the Green Bay Packers game. He said, "How do you feel about our special teams?" Did you want to answer that one, MIRIAH?
Yeah. We talked about this a lot last season about how bad our special teams are, and about that we need to have three winning parts of the football team. It's like we had that defense that's always carrying the team, and then the offense was doing well at the end there, but special teams is never like picking up their ends. So I was super happy. I don't want to ever see anybody lose their jobs, obviously, but I'm very happy that we had some coaching change this, to start this season. I'm happy that I felt like there was just coaches that were just on the team because they were friends with Kyle Shanahan, even though they weren't giving us the results that we should have been getting from them. So I'm glad that we have a new special teams coach and that Hightower's out of there. I'm glad that the first, free agent pickups that they went after were all special teams guys. I think that that's going to, help tremendously for us finally having a return guy, like an actual guy to return, that's returned in the NFL before, not just trying to stick our wide receivers back there, stick a running back there, trying to stick whoever back there, the kitty cat, Dante Pettis, we actually have a real returner back there this season. So that's going to be great. So yeah, I'm super excited that the special teams is finally going to be able to start, give our offense better field position to start off with. And, just carry their part, like instead of the offense and the defense having to carry them.
I hear you because, hey, it's three phases of the game, right? Offense, defense, and special teams. So thank you, Ray Rudo. Welcome to the channel. I've never seen you before. Welcome to the channel. Hope to see you back again in the future. Great question. But if anybody else has any questions, feel free because we're kind of winging it right now anyways. But Brian Schneider was the guy that we hired. Richard Hightower was our former special teams coach. I just remember hearing from certain people that, Hightower was supposedly some friend of Shanahan's. And, so at the end of the day, though, when things aren't working out business-wise, you do have to part ways with those friends. And they're case in point, we did it. Brought in Brian Schneider, some new blood, and hopefully it pans out. I really do hope it pans out. So we'll see. I mean, I'm not going to say, hey, oh yeah, sure, the special teams is going to be a whole lot better now because we changed the coach and, we did bring in a returner, which is good, but we don't know how the coverage is going to look like, if they're going to stop people on kickoff returns or punt returns or not. That's obviously something that worries me a little bit. And hopefully it is better this time around. It'd be very nice to see that. We got Javier Rios. What is up, bro? How you doing? Says, hey, everyone. Channel 49, what's up, bro? Long time no see. My buddy from Instagram. He's always putting up cool things on his Instagram videos and just comments sometimes. So check him out on his Instagram, Channel 49. Says, Jimmy G Life Talk. I can't even read it without laughing. He says, Jimmy G lifetime contract, baby. Trey has a bad release and he has our fatigue. He's just kidding. He's a Trey guy. He's a Trey guy.
Feels great, baby.
Yeah, it feels great, baby. Yeah, you can say that again. Oh man. This whole Jimmy G, Trey Lance thing. You think it's funny because, well, case in point, Prius game. I don't know if he's still in the chat. He might hop up back because I'm saying his name right now. But I've known the guy for quite some time, and every once in a blue moon, I might just sit there and spill out my guts and say, "Hey, man, you got to ride with Trey, man," and go through type up a million reasons why Trey's been progressing and he's got to support him or whatever. Then he's like, he was trolling all this time about Jimmy G, and then he's saying, "Okay, well, if the 49ers officially announced Jimmy G as their starter, Trey Lance is their starter, then I'm going to fully support Trey Lance from that point on." So a week ago, he kind of said so. Okay, I'm with Trey Lance now. And lo and behold, he's jumping on here and going back to his Jimmy ways. And I think he just likes to be the villain and he thinks it's funny to be the villain about this whole Jimmy G thing. Yeah. And I don't even bother to entertain those arguments anymore because it's a waste of time. Jimmy G's not going to be the quarterback. Trey Lance is the quarterback. So whatever.
Yeah, and the first few times I was in your chat, I would go back and forth with him.
Oh yeah, you fell into his little trap, his booby trap.
I know now your games.
Yeah, I know. It's like, where would Prius Game be if he was on here? Then he starts typing up about Jimmy G and just everybody just ignoring him. He'd be like, "Oh, and this is no fun."
Yeah,
maybe I should start praising Trey Lance again. Yeah. So we got Mark from Always Faithful 24/7. Check out his YouTube channel. Says, "What is up with the Jeff Wilson Jr.? Is there any training camp update with him?" I heard he's looking kind of slow in compared to years past. The other running backs that we have ahead of him, from what I've been hearing, I haven't been at camp, but I've been following people who do go to camp. Basically, they're all saying that the other running backs are doing better. Jermichael Hasty, who some people don't like, he's a short, little, fast guy. From what I hear, he's looking pretty good in camp. I mean, we obviously got guys like Elijah Mitchell, who I hear is just tearing up camp. Expect him to put up 1,000 yards this year. If he doesn't, I'd be shocked because I've been hearing a lot of great things about him. Sermon's looking like a quick, shifty type running back with some power, and TD Price is just a bulldozer. And Jordan Mason, I hear, is a guy with some size that can make plays too. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see which running backs go. Wouldn't surprise me one bit if Jeff Wilson Jr. is just gone though, even though he's been here. What do you think?
Yeah, I've been saying since before training camp, I think that Hasty and Jeff Wilson don't make the final 53. I think it'll be Mitchell, TDP, Trey Sermon, and Mason.
Yeah, I hear a lot about Mason, and I heard some good stuff about Trey Sermon as well in terms of camp, and I want them all to do well. I just want the most powerful running back, core in the whole NFL. That's what I want.
Like, could you imagine that those even, let's say, well, we don't know what Mason is, he's an undrafted guy. So let's just say, if we could get the potential out of Mitchell, TDP, and Trey Sermon, like what like three-headed beast at running back that'll be. Like those three, like that running game's going to be crazy. So just add it on, whether it be Hasty or Mason. But from all accounts, like Mason's looking really good out there.
And I'll say this, but I'm going to go back to the O-line really quick. There were some struggles in terms of pass blocking, but things have gotten better over the past few days. McGlinchey's looking pretty solid out there from what I hear. And the only question is mainly the center. And I heard Spencer Burford's looking pretty damn good in pass protection. Jack Hammer on Twitter put up a pretty good tweet about Spencer Burford today in camp. That's good to know because he's a new right guard pretty much. And Aaron Banks, I heard some good things about him lately too. Grant Cohn was saying a lot of good things about Aaron Banks. People were kind of doubting the whole Aaron Banks thing because he didn't play last year and we redshirted him and he sucks and all this other stuff. But he got in a whole lot better shape and he looks pretty determined in this camp. And so it feels more reassuring to know that certain people are stepping up to the plate. But my main reason why I brought up the O-line in terms of running games, I hear pretty much for the most part in camp that the run blocking has been pretty good in camp. And I just read some stuff like Elijah Mitchell busted a 90-yard touchdown run or something like that. And certain guys are getting 20, 30-yard runs. And it's good to know because we want our running game to be stout like it has been the past few seasons. And all that means is, Trey Lance is going to do the play action, throw those deep bombs. And because you can't stack the box. If you can go ahead and stack the box on a great running team. But good luck doing it if you got a quarterback that can throw the deep ball to Ayuk or Debo, or now we got Danny Gray in the mix.
Yeah.
Danny Gray's had his on and off days in camp from what I've been hearing, but in general, what he is, even on a bad day, Danny Gray's still your deep threat. On a bad day, he's a one-trick pony, but on a good day, he's catching balls all over the field, and he's got that run after the catch ability. Anything you want to add to that?
With Danny Gray, I mean, really, that's all we need from him this first season. Like a lot of wide receivers, especially, don't come into form until their second or third season in the NFL. So if we can just get Danny Gray to, just work on things this season and just be that one trick pony that we need to put him out there on the field on, whatever third down every so often, I think that's fine. Like, I'm not expecting him to have a bigger role than that.
Okay, here's a really good question from Channel 49. What's up, bro? Says, which 49ers do you believe will be all pro this season?
Well, I mean, obviously Nick Bosa.
Trent Williams.
Yeah. The given
How about
ones.
Charvarius Ward? Maybe Charvarius Ward. Maybe he might be.
I'm going to say both Wards, Jimmy Ward, J Ward, and C Ward.
There you go. Okay, the Ward duo. That's good to hear. And hey, maybe Ayuk, man, because Jimmy Ward saying Brandon Ayuk's the best player in all of practice, and you're talking about guys with Trent Williams and Bosa, Fred Warner, these elite players out there. And hey, if Ayuk's looking that good, that's great, man. And Debo's just now trying to get back in shape, from what I hear. He's held out or whatever. But by the time week 1 comes, I'm not gonna be worried about Debo at all, not one bit. Okay, we got Danny Gray's biggest fan, the first person who ever told me about Danny Gray way before we drafted him and got me excited about Danny Gray. Same guy who told me about Ayuk way before we drafted him. I don't know if he's got some inside scoop with the 49ers scouts or whoever scouts wide receivers for the San Francisco 49ers. None other than Joey Mahoney, Danny Gray's biggest fan. He's here. He's got a Danny Gray jersey, I believe, already. Wow. I was hyped up about the Danny Gray pick too. If you saw me, I have a video on my YouTube channel where it's an excerpt from Couch Chronicles YouTube channel. We were there on draft day and all watching the draft live. And when Danny Gray got announced, we all made a big announcement. It was kind of funny. So yeah, man. So I love the wide receivers potential this year in terms of wide receiver room, and Ayuk, Debo, Jennings, who that's kind of like the elephant in the room. Jennings looked really good on the field, but he's not really having a good camp. Maybe he's just a gamer and just has bad practices. And he looked pretty damn good during the season and in the playoffs last year. Yeah, I don't know. He needs to get on the jug machine. I don't know what he's doing dropping passes, that guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So if anybody has any other questions in the chat, let me know. Feel free to drop them. We've been on. We're going to probably wrap up at the hour mark, about 8 more minutes or so. I did want to share this with everybody. Everybody knows this already. If you don't know it, shout out to Bryant Young. Congratulations. He is now, he was a great 49er player, obviously, and was in the 49er Hall of Fame, which we do have for our players. But now he's in the NFL Hall of Fame. I didn't watch his speech for it, but I know Eddie DeBartolo was right there by his side. He gave him the golden jacket. He, unveiled the bust for Bryant Young, and just a great person off the field, great person on the field. A great 49er, great leader, a very humble person, amazing defensive lineman. Obviously won a Super Bowl with us, and just had an amazing career. I'm really, really proud of the guy. Anything you got to say about Bryant Young?
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much summed it all up right there. Obviously, congratulations to him. It's nice to see, some of our players getting, the respect and recognition that they deserve, because some of them are still having trouble to get in there. So yeah. Bryant
Young did lose his son. Mahoney brought it up in this chat. I didn't know his name was Kobe, but I know Bryant Young did lose his son a couple years ago. I remember that was on Twitter, and we had tweeted out about that and everything. It's a rest in peace to his son, and this is a nice one for Bryant Young, a nice one for the 49ers greats in general, because I always feel like our players do kind of get passed up from time to time. I mean, I think a running back like Roger Craig, who was an instrumental part of the Joe Montana Super Bowl teams, should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, I don't care if he fumbled in the NFC Championship game. He was the first running back to get 1,000 yards receiving and running and receiving in one season. So.
Yeah, that's crazy that he year after year, like, keep thinking, okay, this has to be the year they're going to put him in. And then the results come out. It's like, nope, it's unbelievable. Like, if that's the reason they're not putting him in is because that fumble, like, that's sad to let, a turnover, like, define the guy's whole career.
I totally agree. And to Roger Craig, that year the Niners were pretty good, and we were going to three-peat. So I guess that's the whole thing. It kind of killed the three-peat, and it wasn't really necessarily Craig's year that year. We were very good as a team, but Craig was battling a really tough knee injury all year, and he was playing through it. So it just wasn't his year that year. That's all. And things happen. That's all. But in general, you look at Craig's body of work, and I think he's a Hall of Fame player. We got a guy who I haven't seen on here in quite some time, Waruna Pereira from No BS Podcast, No BS Sports. What is up, bro? How you doing? He writes for all Sports Illustrated, all 49ers. Definitely check out Waruna Pereira. Great dude, great guy, very knowledgeable about the game. He taught himself how to watch football. He came to this country not knowing what football was and just sat down on his TV. In the span of like 3 years, he picked up the game pretty damn well. So just a great dude, man. Very knowledgeable.
Yeah, we were on their show last week. We had a great time.
You were? Okay.
Yeah.
I did catch some of that. That's right. So anything else going in terms of far as camp or anything you'd like to see, or any players you'd like to see have a nice game in this upcoming preseason game? Anything that comes out of your mind?
I mean, obviously just, to continue to see the offense, start gelling together and, become on one page, get that O-line worked out. It'll be interesting to see, I'm not sure how they're, with only 3 preseason games now, like how they're going to.
Yeah, there was one question in the chat about who did we think the starting.
I don't know if mine froze or you're freezing. I think you're freezing. Your camera's all blurry and everything.
I think there was a hiccup in the connection. Do you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, my connection had slowed down. I'm on a wired connection, man. Out of nowhere, it just stopped. I don't know. Did my video go for a good 20 seconds?
Yeah, it started cut like.
Because I know my video. Okay, my video froze up on my end. That's why I was like, I hope she's still talking. I didn't get all of what you said though, because I was going to add to. I heard what you said.
I was going to say, I'm not sure. Like what players are going to get, play, like. How they're going to divide it up now that there's only 3 preseason games. Like if we'll see the starters, this week or not.
No, don't expect to see Lance playing 2 quarters. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they just play him in half of the first quarter and that's it. Who knows? We might do what the Raiders did and just sit a good portion of our starters. Somebody asked in the comments about Nate Sudfeld or who was that guy? Brock Purdy. And who's going to be the backup quarterback? I think it's pretty obvious that it's going to be Sudfeld. I did like Brock Purdy a bit coming out of college. I didn't analyze his game too much, though. What I did like about Brock Purdy coming out of college, I liked him more so from his highlights that from the previous season than the 2020 season as opposed to the 2021 season. He was a bit nicer in 2020, but he was actually supposed to be a higher draft pick. We got him at the end of the draft. He was actually slated to be like a second rounder maybe, but problem with Brock Purdy has been showing a lot in mini camps and this regular training camp. His big downfall is his lack of arm strength. That is, I was going to say his arm strength. He just doesn't seem to connect properly on deep balls. The deep balls come late to receivers and can't really throw the ball too far. So he's a developmental type player. He's probably somebody that's going to be on our practice squad. And not just say this by default, not that, because Brock Purdy's not showing that Sudfeld just became starter number 2. Like, Sudfeld's actually shown a lot of improvements from what I hear, more so than he did last year. He's getting more reps now. You get more reps, you become better, right? You're not, so now that he's getting the second team reps, Sudfeld's having some pretty productive days against the second team defense. So I just expect to see a much better Sudfeld in this year's preseason. And the guy's got a pretty strong arm, actually. He doesn't necessarily have the accuracy down more so, but he does got a strong arm, and he's been showing them to make some plays in training camp so far. So it may translate to this upcoming preseason game. And we'll probably see a lot of them. So I'm surprised they don't have another quarterback that they're throwing out there, just for the simple fact that I don't expect to see much of Lance at all in this upcoming game.
Yeah, they did work out a quarterback yesterday, but I don't know if they're planning on signing somebody or not.
You know what? I forgot to bring this up. We're going to talk a little bit longer than I expected because I thought I had this in the notes and I didn't. If I did, I overlooked them. It's so you said that we brought in that quarterback the other day. I forgot who it was, but we picked up another. We were talking about offensive line all this time. We didn't talk about Jordan Mills. I haven't sat there and watched the guy throughout his career or anything, but he's got a whole lot of starting games under his belt at right tackle. We have a guy basically coming off the bench now that from what I heard was that they don't like Jalen Moore at right tackle at all. The guy who was a rookie last year, they just want to have Jalen Moore focused as a guard, which is fine. I'm totally okay with that. Bring in a veteran who has experience starting at right tackle, and that's fine. If McGlinchey gets hurt or whatever, you have an experienced guy stepping right in, and if he happens to be at McGlinchey for whatever reason, he ends up being better than him. Hey, that's fine. Whatever we can do to make our team better. We also worked out D.D. Westbrook the other day at wide receiver, and we worked out Willie Snead. We ended up signing Willie Snead, a good veteran wide receiver. So that's a wide receiver that's proven he can start an NFL game. So if Ayuk or Debo were to go down, you have an NFL veteran wide receiver who has starting games under his belt, ready to play as well. What do you think about those new acquisitions?
Yeah, I don't know much about the O-line guy. Like you said, I did see, some clips from him out on the field today, and he looks like a pretty big boy out there. And like you said, he is a vet, so I think it's good to get, a vet in there. That O-line room's, on the younger side right now, besides, obviously Trent Williams. But so, yeah, I don't think it can hurt having, him in there, bringing some vet presence and competition to that O-line. And then Willie Snead, obviously there's a lot of wide receivers on the team right now fighting for like one roster spot. So it's going to be a battle for him to make the 53. I don't know, I know we can stash away, people on the practice squad now, but I'm not sure the rules, with him being a vet and how many years he has in the league and whatnot. But I think it's going to be a hard battle for him to make that last roster spot. But him being in there, during camp, it's another camp body, can't hurt.
There you go. And I'm going to share my screen really quick just to show some pictures really, really quick because I mentioned this stuff earlier. And why not I figured it'd be easier to just show it too. So we got this picture of Willie Snead right here. It was like the breaking news. And I just thought it was kind of funny because when I saw this, I was like, damn, this guy's looking like he's been smoking weed before the games or something. And I pulled up so many pictures of Willie Snead and they all look like this. Like he just has that funny look on his face. Like, how'd this guy pass the drug test? But we got this nice picture right here. It's Bryant Young with Eddie DeBartolo unveiling his Hall of Fame bust. So shout out to Bryant Young and obviously Eddie DeBartolo, the great owner, former owner of the 49ers. Nice. And yeah, it's great to have our Niners in the Hall of Fame for a change. And we always talk about how our players get passed up. And hopefully that doesn't happen with Frank Gore either. I want Frank Gore to be in the Hall of Fame as well. There's certain people out there with Niner fans who are arguing against Frank Gore in the Hall of Fame. I'm not going to say any names. But I don't know. If you have anything else to add about that, let me know because I'm going to answer one more question, then we're going to wrap it up.
No, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So this is from Waruna because I haven't asked this question on the past few shows. And I've been meaning to ask it to my 49er fans out there because I always like to get their spin on what their favorite type of pizza is. So he goes, did you ask Mariah about pizza? Waruna is on my Facebook and he sees the pictures of the pizzas that I make from time to time. And once in a while, I'll put up on my community tab on my Instagram or my 49er YouTube channel. And as far as pizza goes, actually, Vegas, you live in Vegas. Vegas has a lot of good pizza options in comparison to other cities on the West Coast. There's actually some pretty good pizza spots out there. And in general, what's your favorite type of pizza? Some people like the Chicago deep dish type of pizza. Others go for a New York style pizza with a thin crust. Or do you have any type of pizza out there that's your favorite type of pizza or any go-to type place?
Yeah, I like New York style. Definitely, I'm not a Chicago deep dish fan whatsoever. And probably my go-to, like my favorite pizza spot here is Verrazano's. And they only have like 2 restaurants here. It's a family owned and ran from New York. So that's my go-to place. There's another place I like, Villa. That's like a close second. But if I could, any place I'd rather go is Verrazano.
Yeah, there's a famous New York pizza place. It's in New York. It's a famous New York pizzeria that's been there for years. It's called Grimaldi's. And I know they have one in Las Vegas. I never tried it out there, but I was hearing about it. And I know DeFara is really famous over in Brooklyn, one of the most famous pizzerias in New York. They actually have a sister location at Caesar's Casino, but I hear it's nothing compared to the real deal. So,
Oh.
but just in general, Vegas has a lot of pizza options and compared to any places on the West Coast. So, and what goes together better with football than pizza, right?
Right.
And
I love pizza.
Oh yeah, I just made some for my relatives the other day. So we got David Edmondson in the chat from Real Talk Niner Talk. Check him out. He says, "I hate being late." Where is he at? There's one in the comment where he said that. Here we go. Says, "I hate being late." What's up, Ryan Bashar? And hey, great to have David on. Great guy. He's been on the show before. Very talented and very funny guy. Very knowledgeable guy about the 49ers and about sports in general.
Hey, Dave. Yes, the one on Rainbow.
What's the rainbow comment that he made? I didn't get that.
That's the street that the pizza place is on.
Oh, okay. Now, is this pizza place that you like? This is more so off the strip? I'm assuming, right? This is probably.
Oh yeah, I don't go to the strip.
It's funny because you're from Vegas, and TL's from Vegas. A lot of people in Vegas, I noticed, like if you ever mention anything that's on the strip, right away the default answer is, I don't go to the strip. But whenever I'm in Vegas, all I see is the strip. I don't see anything else. So there must be,
because you're here as a tourist, so that's where all the tourists are going.
So I guess
we don't want to be with the tourists. Like we can't stand being down there with those people. Like we know our local spots. The good local spots are not on the strip. The strip's just money places. Like they just stick the most expensive, shitty restaurants down there because you guys aren't going to leave the strip. You're going to stay there and eat. So you need to venture off the strip to find the good places.
That's good to hear. Well, is there anything that you wanted to plug about your channel or anything in general? Go ahead and do it now. Let everybody know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, just really, we try to have a couple shows now that football's starting. We have a couple shows a week. We're having, like I had mentioned earlier, we're having a big show on the 26th of this month for our 1-year anniversary show. We have a lot of different content creators that are going to come through and, talk to everybody for a little bit. We have Nitty Gritty coming, John V, a few different people. We're going to do a bunch of giveaways that day. We have an autographed Bryant Young framed picture we're giving away as the grand prize. And then we have a bunch of other 49ers gifts that we got to give out that day. So yeah, everybody come through. We'd appreciate it. Come say hey, spend some time with us. It's going to be probably a long show that day. We're going to have everybody come through in groups and, talk.
I might be on there as well, right? I think I might be there.
Yep, we invited you. So we tried to invite, people that we had, on the show this last year that, helped form the channel into what it is now.
Good to hear. Well, I'm really thankful for you to come on the show. We've developed this great friendship over the past almost a year, you could say. And it's, always great to talk to 49er fans on a regular basis, and you're one of them. And I've been on your channel, collab with you. Finally, we had you on my channel, which is great. Had TL on. And one day I need to do a show with both you and TL on here, since you guys are a great duo and I'm very appreciative. So just really happy for you to come on the show. And again, shout out to all the people in the chat. You guys make the show happen. If I don't have a chat, if I don't have viewers, I do not have a show. So if I didn't shout you out, my bad. I try to catch everybody in the chat, and I try to ask most of the questions. I can't ask all of them because there's sometimes certain ones I just miss. But John V again says, Bash and MIRIAH, I love your channels. Appreciate it, man. That's John V from the Locker Room Rant. Check out his YouTube channel. I mentioned it again. It's just he has a great camaraderie with his best friends that he grew up, and they're always arguing and fighting over sports, and it's too funny.
He said TL is harder to find than baby formula.
Okay, I saw that.
Yeah, he's busy these days, so that's why we have no set day. We used to do our shows every Thursday, but now he's doing some realty classes, and he works late, and now he has a new little girl thing, so he's too busy to.
You know what? I was gonna wrap up the show, but let me just throw this out there really quick before I do so. Kyle Young says no pineapple on pizza. What's your stance with that? Would you eat a Hawaiian pizza with pineapple on it?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, for me, I'll eat it. I'll have it. It's just not my go-to pizza. I'm not gonna make it on a regular basis. I'm not gonna order it on a regular basis. But if it's there, I'll do it. And if somebody says, "Hey, go ahead and make one," sure, I'll make one. and I'll eat it. I love Canadian bacon is a thing on it that really makes it happen, in my opinion. The pineapple is just kind of in the background, but it's not going to gross me out or anything like that because I just like pineapple.
Yeah, my go-to is just plain cheese or extra cheese.
Okay, so that's a New York mentality. I love New York style pizzas, but my go-to pizza is just with all those combination toppings on there. So, hey, it's each their own, man.
Yep. He said, "Y'all nasty."
I know he's mad at us for liking pineapple pizza. What is up, Cinnamon Kiss?
Hey,
Long time
Sin.
no see. You're a little bit late to the party, but you can always hit the rewind button. We're actually going to close things off now and shut things down. Again, I appreciate everybody in the chat, all my viewers. I appreciate MIRIAH, all my guests. And it's just great to have you guys. Friday is our first preseason game against the Green Bay Packers at Levi Stadium. Again, you Trey Lance guys out there who are hyped up about Trey Lance just like me, or hyped up about any other future starter, you may not see those guys in this game. I'm not sure how they're going to do it. But with that said, guys, great to have you guys again on 49er Minded, where we get into the minds of 49er fans. Keep repping those 49ers and stay 49er Minded. Peace.
Come on, 49Faithfullee, let's get it.
Because it's 49er mind.
We gotta do this one time for the Empire.
It's 49er mind. It's 49er mind.
We gotta get that brick by brick real quick.
49er mind.
Yeah, yo, we can't listen to them haters, man.
49er mind.
We from the Bay.
49er mind.
We them San Francisco 49ers.
49er mind.
We got that red and gold blood inside us.
49er mind.